And I started this account way back in December. Well, no, end of November. I put 200 bucks into my M1 Finance. And I basically held it until about the second week in September. Really didn't start scaling it up till about sometime in April, and then we really started ramping it up as my goal was to push the account into passive income. At least for this year, I wanted a minimum of $100 for the month. That's basically what my goal is to have $100 every month of passive income through my current portfolio. And of course, for the first month, we've actually finally broke. I thought I wasn't going to break it this month, and it turned out that I did, as I did get some dividends on the very last day of the month. And so the total for the month of October is $102.31. And I know for November and in December, that of course is going to scale a bit higher, as December, especially in December, it's going to be quite a big month. And so basically coming back, looking at some of the activities that I got for the end of the month was basically in the last couple of days, I got some small, I didn't think I was, the last time I got a gain dividend, it was only like 10 cents, but I forgot that I started really buying more into Gladstone. And so at the end of the month, we ended up getting another 344 from Foot Locker. Of course, very surprised that Foot Locker, of course, went back to start paying a dividend. I am still holding it. I may end up selling out of it. It did kind of come down below that $38 mark, but we're going to wait and see. I know because we had huge sell off recently in the market that was more than likely why, of course, the stock sold off. Going to wait and see how that goes over the next month or so, especially with the holidays, to see if if we get a little bit of a hard pullback, especially after the elections. We're going to see a lot of volatility probably up until the end of the year, especially because if Trump gets reelected, I have no doubt that we're going to see a lot of chaos and anarchy in the streets, as people, of course, will protest. And if Biden gets elected, well, the market will maybe fearful on how they're going to bring about the increase in taxes that Biden has been talking about, as well as the disruption to oil. There's been numerous things that he said that are, of course, anti-business in terms of higher taxations, not just for businesses, but for all people, pushing away from oil. Of course, oil being hit because of the state of the economy, and a lot of economies, like for example in England and in France, where they're really halting and shutting down a lot of their economies. We'll have to wait and see over the next couple of months whether, if Trump gets reelected, whether he will push for many of these countries to stop shutting down their economies because of the global economy, even though many of these countries, of course, are really not seeing a lot of spikes in deaths or hospitalizations. We are seeing spikes in cases, but not necessarily in hospitalizations, which is really the important thing. If no one is seeking medical treatment for the virus, then there's really no reason to shut down your economy. And so we'll have to wait and see who is basically going to who's going to come into power for next year, and we'll have to take it from there in terms of what we're going to be investing with and the outlook of the economy, etc. But at the end of the month, we did see a little bit of a LTC, of which of course is a real estate investment trust, that also pays out every month. Gladstone pays out every month, and of course Foot Locker pays out every quarter. So we did end up getting like another 12 or so dollars towards the account, and of course that pushed us over the final threshold that I've been waiting for some time to really get my small account over to that minimum of $100 a month. And we basically finally, after what, 10 months, about 10 months or so of solid investing, we're basically there. Again, this portfolio is designed for cash flow. My goal for this account is basically cash flow, and my goal is, of course, to retire early. And so I'm looking for about between $1,500 and $1,800 a month of income through dividends that I can basically utilize for paying bills and rent, etc. And so my goal for this account, of course, currently we're sitting at 29,000. That goal by the end of next year is to turn this basically $30,000 account. We want to turn that into an $80,000 worth of invested, $80,000 worth of investment. And of course, my goal is roughly around 7%. So for the first quarter of next month, the goal is 300, right? The goal is $300 a month of passive income through dividends. And of course, at the end of the year, we're looking for a total invested of about 80,000 with about a 7% return, which is going to put us at about 5,600. Of course, we'll divide that by 12. And that will put us at the end of the year. That's basically my goal. My goal for next year, my minimum goal for next year is $466 a month of passive income. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a nice little journey to see how I can balance the portfolio. And of course, feel free to, of course, subscribe to join me on that journey. My goal is, like I said, to put a minimum of an additional 50,000 into the account. But what I really want to do is I really want to get this account from 80,000 to 100,000 by the end of next year. We'll just have to wait and see, depending upon how business goes here. For those who don't know, for one, I do work as a nurse in a hospital, and two, I did start a company back in 2017 utilizing private home care. I had been a business owner for many years before going back to college, and basically going into nursing, it became a passion of mine after a friend of mine had a stroke, and I really wanted to get into like the medical care people. But then, of course, working for someone, I realized really quickly how much I missed being a small business owner. And so back in 2017, I created a company that focused on basically a concierge service here in Manhattan for people who are looking for private home care. And so that's basically what I do now. I provide private aid service or private companionship for people who are looking for that sort of a service. Obviously, it's typically geriatric people, but of course, with the pandemic, that of course made it a little bit difficult, at least on the back end, because it became very expensive to purchase things like masks and gloves and things of that nature. And of course, people became fearful of random strangers coming into the home, so that put a little bit of a hindrance on the company. But for 2021, I'm hoping that things, of course, will start to die down. People will feel a little bit more at ease. And of course, the other thing is that people are now more fearful of going into places like, for example, nursing homes, and may want more of a at-home sort of service going, moving forward. So we'll see, maybe people's behaviors will change. Of course, that will give me additional cash flow that I'll be able to dump into the account. And of course, I'm always looking for other ways, of course, at making money besides, doing overtime and investing and pushing forward with, with my small little business that I'm looking forward to getting much more of a drive for 2021. I will have to wait and see how that goes. But it's a little bit of an update for today. I hope you guys are doing great. I am watching the market, of course, today. I'm looking to see where I'm going to put some investments for this week, but more importantly, for the next coming months going forward, looking to see where we're going to see some pullbacks in the market. Abivite had a really nice bump. It literally bounced off of the $80 mark. So hopefully you guys are paying attention and we're able to pick up some shares. We hit 79 and change, and Abivite ripping today. We're up 8 points from where we were talking about getting in. I started buying a little bit here and really started scaling a little bit more here. And unfortunately, I was hoping that we were going to have a little bit more time, but sometimes that's just how it is. You have to know where to get in and be decisive and get in to take advantage of some pretty nice gains. That's if you were buying there at 79 and 80, you were literally seeing a 10% bump in what you've invested literally over the course of 2 days. So unfortunately, I didn't get as much as I had wanted, but I did buy a little bit in my small account on my TD. And of course, I purchased a little bit more in the M1. Looking forward to seeing what's coming for the next month. And I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching. Of course, if this is your first time here, be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on future content. And if you like the content, be sure to hit the like button so that it gets recommended to other people. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.